Hey everybody, how you doing? If you've been watching my channel, you know I'm fairly new to The Villages. I moved here in September 2022, so I've been doing a lot of projects inside and out, and I just recently started doing a lot of landscaping outside, and I'm getting ready to do some painting, like my shutters and doors and things like that. Big palm tree that I have to remove, and in order to do a lot of these things, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to be in violation of the ARC, or the Architectural Review Committee here in The Villages. If you're not familiar with the ARC, let me read right from their website what they're all about. The mission of the Architectural Review Committee is to maintain the high quality and consistency of the aesthetics and design of the residences and home sites found throughout the villages. Whether it's a pool addition, landscaping, painted driveway, porch enclosure, coloring of walks in or driveways, arbors, pergolas, trellises, removal of trees that are greater than 4 inches in diameter, it is necessary to submit a modification alteration form for approval, which is basically this right here. Chapter 190 Florida statutes authorize community development districts to adopt these rules necessary to enforce the guidelines. So, you know, we have to comply with this stuff or you can get in trouble, fined, whatever. The architectural review ensures every home modification is constructed of appropriate materials and built to complement the natural man-made surroundings. The architectural review process is purely administrative in nature, which tells me that they don't run around policing it. I think it's more of a neighbor reporting system. So if someone sees your house being dilapidated or you painted it some crazy color that doesn't quite go with the community, will probably be put on their radar, but I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think that's how it works. The issuance of permits or variances is through the appropriate city council. Blah, 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 blah. So basically, the ARC makes sure that exterior of their homes, the landscaping and everything is kept a certain way to keep the look here in the villages that we all love. Part of the reasons that we moved here, right, was for the beauty of it. So we all have to do our part, and this is just their way of keeping an eye on that kind of thing. So if you're going to do anything major to the outside of your home, if you're going to do any projects to the exterior of your home, I would definitely look into the ARC, and I'm going to show you the website here in a minute. I'm going to show you where to download the application form to submit for your project. Now, what's kind of interesting is I have a 25-year-old palm tree in the back that is dying. I've had 2 tree experts look at it. It's definitely got to come down, but I wanted to make sure I went through the ARC because it is bigger than 4 inches in diameter. So I thought the right thing to do was to fill out the form, submit it. I took pictures. I took an overhead shot from Google of my house, of the property. I got all the paperwork I needed, proof of ownership. I took photos of the tree. I explained everything I wanted to do, attached it all to this form. I dropped it off, and then I waited a couple weeks. I called to follow up to see if it got approved. Come to find out, a palm tree of any size, you don't need the ARC permission. This was according to the phone call that I had, so make sure you check yourself. I'm just telling you my experience. I'm not telling you to run around chopping down palm trees. Anything like that, you should always call these guys or look online and see what the rules are. The conversation that I had, he told me that palm trees are considered grass, and therefore, doesn't matter the size, you don't need the ARC's permission to remove them. That blew me away. Now, any other type of tree that's over 4 inches in diameter, yes, you want to go through the ARC before you rip it out or cut it down. Another thing you'll notice, and I'll show you on the website and on this form, is that if you chop down a regular tree, you have to remove the stump. I know it's boring stuff, but that's a lesson that I learned. I went through this whole process and didn't have to for that tree. But that's okay, because I learned a lot about the ARC in the process. So another thing that was interesting, I'm getting ready to paint my shutters and my front door. Just they haven't been painted in decades. It looks horrible, and I just want to update it. Maybe use a different color, like a black or something a little bit more modern. I was also told by the ARC that they don't govern the doors. They do have to approve the color that I choose to paint the shutters, but not the door. They have no jurisdiction over the front door, which I found very interesting. So, but that's what they told me on the phone, that as far as the shutters or anything else in the exterior painting wise, yes, you go through the ARC, but when it comes to the door, I don't have to. I don't know if that means you can paint it any color you want, but that's kind of how I interpreted the conversation that I had. But again, if you're going to do some painting or anything on your outside of your home, I would definitely look into the ARC. So let's go to check out the website, walk you through that, and then I'll show you where the ARC is actually located, and then we'll go from there. Let's check it out. So this is districtgov.org, which is the Villages Community Development District's website. If you come under committees, you go to Architectural Review Committee. This number right here, 352-751-3912, is like their main office. You can call them for any questions. I've called them twice. They've been very helpful. If you come under quick links here and then forms and publications, you'll see the Architectural Review ARC application. This is the form you're going to want to download and fill it out and then take it into the office. Here's a little tip for you. This is Old Mill Run Road in Sumter Landing. When you come to drop off your form at the ARC, you're going to walk along this street looking for that address and you won't see the address. So it jumps. But anyway, you got the Starbucks right here, and if you look in this little alleyway right here, that's where you want to go in, and then on the right side over here, once you walk through this alley, is a door to the right that looks kind of governmental, and you go through that door and up the stairs, and that's where the ARC is. So again, this is at Sumter Landing, Old Mill Run Road, and you type in the address, you're not going to see the entranceway to the ARC, so you'll want to look for this alleyway, go in there, and then up the stairs. All right, let's jump back to the form on districtgov.org. And there's some interesting notes in here that I came across. There's this little section here, ARC approval stipulations. You'll want to pay attention to this. Water management stuff, if you're affecting drainage, things like that. And you'll be liable for any blockage and that kind of thing. Let's see. Make sure you comply with government regulations. In the event of a tree removal approval, the owner shall remove the tree stump and restore the area to its natural state. So if you're removing an oak tree or something like that that's been approved by the ARC, you can't just cut it off and leave the stump there. You have to have that stump taken out and the surface brought back to normal. So I found that to be interesting. So something you'll think about. But anyway, that's where you get the form. Again, it's at districtgov.org. You go to Architectural Review Committee. Under Quick Links, go to Forms and Publications. Click on ARC application. It'll open a PDF typically. And then you download this form, fill it out, read it carefully. Then you take it to the office, which I just showed a minute ago. If you can't read it, it is 984 Old Mill Run, The Villages, Florida 32162. There's also an interesting thing under here, public meetings notices and results. If you come in here, this shows their meetings and agendas, which is kind of interesting. So let's say we click on this one, and then there's the agenda. And this tells you all the properties that they're going to be discussing or reviewing that day. And then if you click on the agenda packet, you can actually see all the different submissions for that period. There's descriptions. It's crazy. They show everybody's submission of what they're doing, which I found pretty interesting. Here, let's look at the ARC application process real quick. So basically, owner submits ARC application. If it's approved, property owner can proceed with the alteration. No other further action is required. If they deny your application, you can resubmit a modified plan. And here's the appeal process and all that. So again, that's on the website under Forms and Publications on the very end. All right, so I hope some of that was helpful. I know it's a little dry subject, but it does impact all of us that live here. You definitely want to go through the ARC. You know, if you're going to sell your home, make sure it's in order. You don't want the new people to get stuck with some crazy fine because you didn't do things right. If you're buying a new home, you might want to get some sort of written agreement that everything that they've done to the exterior of their home is within the ARC guidelines. But of course, I'm not a realtor, a lawyer, or anything like that, so check with your realtor on that. If you buy a home that has exterior stuff that was done that was not approved by the ARC, you could be the one that ends up paying for that, having to make it back to how it used to be, possibly fined. I don't know how they're going to do that, but you do hear about those things. So make sure when you buy a home, everything is up to the standards as best you can. You know, maybe call the ARC and look into it. I hope this video is helpful to you guys. Thanks a lot for watching. You know, subscribing, sharing, all that kind of stuff that everybody's supposed to do on YouTube. Much appreciated. I'll catch you on the next video, all right? Take care of each other out there. See you guys.